Welcome to More Fanime. I am your fan of more anime. And today I ask the question, what's next for Krillin in the Dragon Ball universe, in Dragon Ball Super, going forward? Does Krillin have any relevance that will make a difference in the story at all? Or is Krillin sort of done? I mean, yes, he does make an appearance now and then, here and there. He gets to have a win once in a while in Dragon Ball Super. He'll get an opportunity to do something cool. He's kind of retired a couple times in the series without having to say it. After, I would say, honestly, after the Frieza saga, Krillin was kind of over it. I mean, really, Krillin has had some of the greatest fights in the series. I mean, look at Krillin versus Piccolo from the Dragon Ball tournament, the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai, that, if I'm correct, yes I am, the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai. Krillin went head to head with Piccolo in a fight that I truly believe to be one of the most underrated fights in the series. It is so well done, so well crafted by Toriyama, and even expanded in the anime. But what it does, it's not even a long fight. And I'm not saying it's the epic battles that happen now in Dragon Ball Super between the super-de-duper Saiyan gods and the gods of the destruction. But it was simple. We had a great villain, Piccolo Jr., who was still, who still hadn't shown how skilled he was yet. We didn't know exactly how strong this guy was yet, and putting him up against Goku's best friend Krillin, the guy who was murdered by King Piccolo, his father, well, technically his minion Tambourine, who killed Krillin. And now they go head-to-head in a tournament where I don't even think Krillin at the time realized who Piccolo Jr. was. Maybe he would have been a little more apprehensive in going into this fight. But this fight was one of the few times that Krillin was confident, because he had been through some shiz over the last few years, training. I mean, Krillin did go head-to-head with Goku, and he showed just how tough he could be in the tournament prior to this, in the tournament where Tien was the main villain, sort of, the rival. And he learned that how strong Goku was, and it probably motivated Krillin, not only losing to Goku, his rival that he saw as the pinnacle, the man he wanted to show up, the man he wanted to impress, his best friend, but he also probably was motivated by dying and coming back to life. He probably didn't realize that that was a possible thing. And coming back, when you have a near-death experience, you start to look at the world a little differently. So Krillin went out and got stronger, much stronger if you think about it. He was able to impress Piccolo Jr., who looked down upon the little man Krillin. And in this fight, this underrated fight, Krillin was not only able to put over Piccolo as a threat, and just show how strong Piccolo is when he's not trying as hard as he can. But he was able, in this fight, Krillin was able to show us, or at least Toriyama was able to show us how far that Krillin has come. After this fight, I was like, whoa! Krillin's gotten stronger, and he lost. Krillin lost in his fight with Piccolo in this tournament. And yet I felt immediately how much stronger Krillin had become just from the showing he put up against Piccolo. This fight is so underrated, and if you haven't watched it, please go watch it. It's only one episode. It's only one chapter, I believe, in the manga. It's so well done, and I think about this fight a lot. I've watched it a few times. It's one of the few times that a character has, in a lot of ways, gained more by losing. And both characters, honestly, Piccolo and Krillin, gained from this fight. Krillin is such a good character. And I hate the fact that he kind of didn't get to do a whole lot after the Cell Saga. Yes, he's been brought back basically for cameo appearances, or he'll babysit Goten and Trunks occasionally. He'll take care of them and help them with their fusions and whatnot. He did get his happy ending, which I appreciate. I think Krillin's character was taken care of better than Tien, who didn't even get to marry Launch or something, or retire with honor. Krillin kind of got out of the biz at the perfect time, whereas Tien couldn't give it up. He wanted to still be Goku's rival, and I would love that because I'm a big fan of Tien. But, Toriyama has done a terrible job of developing the human characters since the Frieza saga, truly. They had an amazing showing against Nappa. I think they did very well for what they had to dealing with an opponent like Nappa. And I did appreciate that. And the humans do get major moments, like Krillin hitting Frieza with a Destructo Disc when he thought that Krillin was dead, or Krillin teaming up with Gohan and trying their very bestest to deal with the Namek arc, having to deal with Frieza's soldiers using the solar flare, which he stole from Tien, to get away from Dodoria. I think that Krillin is a bit of a strategist sometimes. He's a little bit more, how do we say it? He's a little bit more fragile than Goku, and he always has been, physically and mentally. And his fighting style shows that. He's willing to step up when he has to. He's willing to sacrifice himself if he has to. But at the same time, he knows when to hold them, and he knows when to walk away. And he obviously knows when to run. Krillin deserves the fandom's respect. Do I think he's the strongest human on the planet of Earth in the Dragon Ball world on this day? No, I do not think that. I think that Krillin is possibly the second strongest human. Tien, in my opinion, will always be the strongest human, and that is until Oob finally makes his true appearance in the series in Dragon Ball Super, and the story goes forward and these characters age out. Krillin is on the cusp of aging out, of ever being able to compete in a real fight. I mean, I'm surprised they even let Krillin get involved in the Moro arc in the manga. And the Tournament of Power was such a disgrace for Krillin, in my opinion. Yes, he got to have a good showing training with Gohan and Goku, where he showed that, power isn't everything and skill is very important. And they felt like they were building up Krillin for a major moment in this tournament of power. But really, Krillin was treated like shiz in the Tournament of Power. He basically was in it for the shortest amount of time of the Earthlings. He gets beaten pretty easily. He gets to throw out, I believe, 1 or 2 opponents, which is pretty cool, I guess. I would say Krillin's moment was more impressive than Tien's, who kind of got screwed out of a major moment. I mean, Tien sacrificed himself in a way that he didn't need to. It was kind of lame. Krillin got to team up with Android 18 for a hot minute. And I mean hot. and they worked together to take out some peoples. And it would have been really cool to see Krillin and Android 17 work together in the tournament, being that they are brothers-in-law. It is interesting to think that Krillin and Android 17 they do call each other brother in a way. That is kind of weird to think about. They don't really dive too deep into that relationship. I'm sure he might think that he's not good enough for his sister, but I'm sure a lot of older brothers would think that about their younger sister. Well, I mean, I think they're twins, so I don't know who's older. I really do not. I assume 17 is older. But a lot of brothers would look at a man who married their sister and go, who is this guy? He's not even Goku status. And you married my sister and made her bear your child, who I'm sure he loves a lot. Marron, who I do hope down the line, I do hope that Toriyama and the writing staff of Dragon Ball Super decide when they finally do a time skip to give Marron some training. I think that the story would be very cool if Marron, the daughter of Krillin and Android 18, actually became a major player in the world of Dragon Ball. I mean, the next generation is looking right at us, people, and Krillin's daughter is one of them. She's got a little more. I'd like them to treat Marron a little better than Dragon Ball GT did, where they just kind of made her a little bit of a brat in a way. I mean, she was like, I'm gonna go shopping, and I don't know. She just didn't come off to me like a daughter of a warrior like Krillin. Krillin, I think, doesn't have much of a fighting future going forward. He doesn't really have the motivation to want to be strong other than to impress his wife, Android 18, who does like it when Krillin shows off his martial arts abilities, which he does have. I mean, Krillin studied under one of the greatest martial artists of all time, Master Roshi. I mean, he taught him just as hard as he taught Goku. They both went through this training, which was probably very hellish. Could have been worse. I mean, Master Roshi's a pretty chill guy, pretty chill sensei, but he put them through the ringer and then kick their asses in the tournament to show them just how much farther they have to come. I mean, technically, Krillin surpassed his master, Master Roshi. He surpassed him by far in the series. Yes, in Dragon Ball Super, Master Roshi revealed that he's been secretly training this whole time, and he's actually stronger than he lets everybody believe. But I'd like to hope that Krillin still is a little stronger after what he's been through, going to different planets and dealing with aliens like Frieza, or dealing with androids like Cell and whatnot. Or crazy magical creatures like Majin Buu. I mean, Krillin has died and come back more times than I can count. Well, about 3 or 4 times, which is a lot. He's died more than most characters in Dragon Ball. And it is nice every once in a while to see him show up, throw a Destructo disc, or just be confident in the way that he was back in the tournament. I mean, really, the only time that he was truly confident in his abilities was when he fought Piccolo in the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai. That fight is, in my opinion, Krillin's greatest fight. And one of the best in the series, like I mentioned earlier in this video, and I will suggest it one more time. Go watch it if you haven't watched it. It will impress you. Watch the whole damn tournament, honestly. But Krillin kind of got his ass beat. But he's always been a great, and I mean great, support character. He's always backed up people. He's a great teammate. He knows how to help out. Him teaming up with Piccolo against Nappa was epic. Him teaming up against with Gohan on Planet Namek was epic. He is the foundation, the heart and soul of the Z Fighters, I don't want to use the word mascot, but he kind of is the guy who pushed Goku into becoming a Super Saiyan. Krillin's death sparked a generation of Super Saiyans. Isn't that kind of weird? Like, if Krillin hadn't died there, I mean, who knows? If Krillin didn't get exploded or imploded, whatever Frieza did to him when he crushed and exploded Krillin with telekinesis, who knows? Goku could have died. The whole universe could have been ruled by the Emperor Frieza until Beerus woke up and murdered him. Oh, man. I mean, I was very disappointed in Krillin's showing in the Tournament of Power when he basically just was in it for a minute and then became a cheerleader and just threw out exposition. I did get very frustrated at that moment because I do respect the man. I respect Krillin oh so much. And I know he's aging out of ever being a truly competent fighter. But I do believe that Krillin, if the story had told it correctly, could still be a major player in this game. At one point, he was the number 2 good guy next to Goku. He was the guy who took out Chiaotzu in his debut fight. Chiaotzu's debut fight in the 22nd Tenkaichi Budokai, Krillin won that fight. I mean, Krillin usually makes it to the second round in every tournament he's in. That's pretty impressive if you think about it. I mean, look at Yamcha, an older man who can't even make it past the first fight in every tournament he's in. But Krillin always seems to get past that first round. And look at even the Buu Saga. He got past the first round. I mean, that's pretty cool. Krillin has a streak there. He always seems to place in the tournaments. People recognize this guy. If Krillin really wanted to, he could go secretly enter these fighting tournaments without Goku and the rest of the super-de-duper fighters and win all the money in the world. But instead, Krillin, the honorable man, the legend that he is, decides not to do that, decides not to get glory like Hercule. He decides to be a police officer. That's correct. I love this. Krillin decides to use his abilities for good, for a 9-to-5 paycheck, which has got to be pretty cool. I'm sure he gets a little bit of glory from his fellow police officers who he saves on a daily basis from terror. I mean, I'm sure Krillin gets on his scooter sometimes and writes tickets and it's a boring ass day, but occasionally he stops a bank robbery. Occasionally he saves the world from Frieza's army. I mean, the dude is range, people. Krillin has range. And now he's got a daughter who's growing up who might need a sensei. A sensei like Krillin, her father. The man who could teach her the Destructo Disc, the Kamehameha, Tien's Solar Flare. Train this child to be even stronger than he ever was. And then maybe Marron can take the legacy of Krillin on forward and become the strongest female human ever. Now that'd be a hell of a story that I can get behind. I think that Krillin deserves your respect. At one point he was a butt of a joke. That is until Yamcha became the bigger butt of the jokes. After the Cybermen death, I mean, he became a walking meme. I do think the fandom respects Krillin a little bit more. There is always the argument of is he stronger than Tien? I do not believe so. I do believe that Tien has always been a little bit superior to Krillin. Tien has had the benefit of never truly stopping training, which is pretty impressive if you think about it. If Krillin stopped training and yet he still maintains such a high power, That's pretty impressive. Tien has to maintain. He has to lift. He has to fight. He has to keep progressing. It is what motivates him. But Krillin, he settled down. He had his children. He met the woman of his dreams. The woman of the Dragon Ball fandom's dreams. Android 18. One of the greatest blonde female characters in anime history. And Krillin married her. A woman who I do believe is better than even Chi-Chi as a character. Better than Bulma. Even though Bulma has had a lot of major moments in the story. But Krillin married Android 18. And he is probably a very happy man. And he's willing to do the things to save the Earth. Even though he is even though Krillin is always very scared of major opponents like Frieza and his army who shows up during the Resurrection F arc, or just show up when he was half a cyborg before the Cell arc, or the Cell saga, Krillin is still willing to take that fear that he has of death that he's experienced a couple times and stand up and keep fighting. I would say that Krillin is actually more brave than Goku ever was. Goku's almost had it easy in a lot of ways. Goku was able to do a Kamehameha wave just by looking at it. Krillin had to earn that shit, people. Krillin had to work his ass off to be even half as strong as Goku when they were kids. He had to work 10 times harder than Goku ever did to get half as much. Krillin had to push past his fears. Bravery isn't just blindly being stronger or naturally being stronger or just being stupidly willing to walk into danger. Bravery is taking your fears and pushing past those fears, like Krillin does on a daily basis, being a police officer. Like Krillin does when he has to deal with an invasion of Earth, like the Moro arc. Krillin always finds a way to get past it. Finds a way out of no way. Krillin is the man's man. Krillin is the underdog. Whereas Goku truly never was an underdog. He's always kind of gotten lucky in a lot of ways. Yes, Goku puts the work in. But I think that Krillin always put just that little bit more in when they were competing against each other. And yes, he reached the ceiling of potential that humans have in this world of Dragon Ball. But he shows every time he's on screen and Toriyama decides to give him an actual moment to succeed that he can meet that potential. Even if he gets thrown out too early in a tournament that was setting him up to do something spectacular. Actually, I honestly preferred Krillin's elimination in the Dragon Ball Super manga, which I do believe to be superior to the Dragon Ball Super anime. I think he gets eliminated by Frost, which makes a lot of sense. You know, it would have been really cool if Krillin actually got to go head-to-head with Frost, or show that maybe that he's become strong enough to deal with a character like Frost. I mean, I know Frost, he's like that final Frieza form. It would have been kind of cool if, at the very minimum, the Tournament of Power was able to show us Krillin is strong enough to deal with someone like Frieza was that killed him back at Planet Namek, if that makes sense. Like, if he was able to go head to head with Frost for a little bit in the tournament, or a villain of note like Frost, or even if Krillin was able to fight someone like Kaba for a little while in his Super Saiyan form, that would have been kind of cool, showing that Krillin could possibly hold his own against a regular-ass Super Saiyan. That I would have been excited for. I think that he just needed his moment in that tournament, other than just teaming up with his wife. I honestly, if I had to choose a better way for Krillin to get his moment in the Tournament of Power, it would have been the trio of danger, the three wolf fox dudes, versus Goku, who I believe Goku took out on his own. But it would have been sick to see those three versus Goku, Krillin, and Master Roshi, and they do a three-way Kamehameha or a sensei-student Kamehameha and blow those three out of the tournament. That would have been perfect. To see the Turtle School back together again, and I thought that's what they were building up, but instead they threw it all away when they kicked Krillin out of the tournament too early. So yes, to answer my question, what's next for Krillin? Honestly, I think that it's mediocrity. I think that Krillin has already truly found what he's always wanted, a beautiful wife. He's done very well in tournaments. He's become a great fighter. A long time ago, he became a great human fighter. He's one of the greatest, strongest humans of all time. He's reached his goals, and that's something we all can achieve. That's something that we all want in real life. We want to achieve our goals so we can die happy. And I believe that Krillin, when he does finally die for realsies, he will die happy because he's got a beautiful daughter, a beautiful wife, a beautiful life. And that's all life is about. He doesn't have any desire to be better than Goku, but he surpassed his master, and that's all that really matters. He surpassed Master Roshi a long time ago. He's defended Earth. He's defended people, innocent people, on a daily basis as a police officer. He has saved the son of his best friend a few times. I mean, Krillin has done some really cool shiz. And I don't think he should ever feel disgraced in any way, shape, or form. He shows bravery every time he's on screen. Sometimes he's the gag character, but man, is the dude a tough SOB, son of a bitch. I would love to see Krillin get some more moments going forward. Honestly, if it was up to me, if I was Toriyama, I would sit down with the people who run my shiz, my IP, and say, hey, I have characters like Krillin, Tien, Piccolo, Gohan, all the new universe characters, but these legacy characters like Krillin, Master Roshi, Android 18, the OGs, Chaozu, Tien, I think that they are strong enough characters that they could literally lead their own series. So I've been saying this for a while now, but I think that what they should do, since they're not going to use these humans, they're not going to use these characters on Earth for anything of importance other than to hold off the villains until Goku and Vegeta arrive, why not allow them to have their own mini arc or their own mini story or movie or special episodes that they can have their own thing going on. Like, what if Krillin and Android 18 had to go do something on their own without any interference from Goku and Vegeta and got to not only develop their relationship in front of our eyes, maybe we'll get some flashbacks to them dating before they had a daughter, before they got married, if they did. I mean, I think they did, because I think they call each other wife and husband. But it would have been cool to see their past during the time skip and how they truly fell in love. How he wooed Android 18. That'd be kind of fun to watch. And it'd be cool to see them in current day kicking ass and taking names. And they could even throw characters like Android 17 into this story because he is part of this family. Or Master Roshi, who's kind of been intertwined, involved in this relationship, giving them place to live before they found their own. This has been More Fanime. What is your favorite Krillin moment? Please comment down below. Please like, comment, and share, and subscribe to More Fanime. I'll talk to you later.